Hi, I am Coach Nikki. I'm here in Lake Tahoe, and today we are talking about female finance and finance in general. So if you're not female, you're fine. Stay right here. We're going to go over today, we're going to talk specifically about where to invest and why. Now, that being said, these talks are really just like what's working for me. I absolutely love talking about money, and especially with women, because it's something that is so important to us. Money is this universal energy that the more we have, the more we can give, the more that we can share, the more that we are able to create and be our best human. And I think that there's sometimes quite a bit of either shame, guilt, or even just not wanting to talk about it because maybe our parents told us not to, or it feels taboo. But really, in general, it is so important for us to think about how we make money and how our money can then make money for us. And today I'm going to share with you some of the things that I do personally, um, that I have encouraged and taught in our owners group with all of our different KaiFit locations, and that I've learned through different books. Now, this is not to say by any means that this is the way to do it. You might have a wonderful way of having your money work for you, and this might be something that's really elementary for you. Wherever you are coming into the conversation, whether you have tons of different kind of diverse savings accounts and investment accounts, or whether you're brand new to this, just dive into the conversation. Just be open to possible new ideas, and then also teach. Like if you have something that's just crushing it for you, in our private Facebook group, Deb, maybe if you can just post again our private Facebook group on Facebook and here in Zoom. And this is not something run by me, this private Facebook group. This is just a way of where you can privately ask questions to one another, you can motivate each other, and it will grow just by grassroots conversation. So if you want to jump into there, we also post these recordings if you want to look at those. So today we're going to talk about investing and why. Always kind of starting with the idea of, okay, first, like, okay, here's where all our money is coming in, right? This is whether your money is coming in from your business, from your job, from your side hustles, from just investments that you have this pot of money. And then we need to decide where this pot of money should go, so then we can make the most out of what's coming in, and not always for the rest of our life relying on just work for money. We want our money to passively grow, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So we have in past episodes talked about debt, and debt is something that's really, really important. We can have a lot of shame around it. A lot of us, probably everybody on this call, has probably experienced the negative stress of debt. And so I just encourage you to not be shameful about that piece of your life, but really dive into it. How much debt do you have? What are you paying for interest? What is the terms? All of these things, dive into that, because we want to get your debt paid down as quick as possible so we can start investing into what we're going to talk about today, which is like your 401k, your Roth IRA, your savings accounts, all that good stuff. Okay, so when we want to start taking care of our money and start thinking about, okay, where do we want our money to go? If you can, if you have a piece of paper, if you're not driving, just write on the top like your salary. So wherever your money is coming from, so just write like right on the top, this is my salary. Now, from your salary, there's like a little arrow going from your salary to your 401k. So first I'm going to just walk through like your salary, your 401k, then put a little arrow down into your checking account. So your money is going to go from your salary into your checking account. And then to the side of your checking account is going to be your Roth IRA. So we have your 401k, which is pre-tax, and I'll try to go slow, but these are things that you can Google. The books that I've been suggesting is I Will Teach You to Be Rich, from Ramit Sethi, I think is his last name. Nicole Lapin, and Miss Independent is the one that I read, and that's talking about investing. So go through and read these books, because it really, the more I read them, the more I listen to them, the more I go over, and maybe you've already read them, but go over and over again until you really understand. Because today, obviously, I've got like 15 minutes with you. We're not going to be able to break down exactly what all of these investment accounts are, but I want like high level us to look at, here's our salary, and from our salary, we can invest into our 401k, and that's pre-tax. So if the business that you're working for, if you have a simple 401k set up in your business, you can invest into your 401k pre-tax. Now, it doesn't mean you never pay tax on it. It just means you don't pay tax on it now. Because and these are long-term investments. So these are things that you are going to put money in until that retirement year of like 59, or wherever you decide, like 65. You can even push it out longer if you want to. But when you think about your 401k, that's your pre-tax. And if your employer contributes and matches a portion of your contributions, then you should definitely take advantage of that. Because what the 401k does and what the Roth IRA does is it takes your money and it starts compounding interest. So then your money is making money for you. So and you probably already know this. So if you work for a company that contributes to your 401k, you probably already know this. My biggest thing that I'm encouraging you to do is max that out, is cut your expenses down so you can, one, first and foremost, pay off your debt. Two, really take all the benefits of a match when it comes to your 401k. And if they don't match, it's still great to put pre-tax dollars into your 401k. And then when you take it out at your retirement age, that's when you pay taxes on it. So you'll want to kind of look at whether you're going to be in a higher tax bracket when you retire, or whether you're in a higher tax bracket now, to see which, and hopefully you can invest in both your 401k pre-tax or your Roth IRA post-tax. Okay, so if we go down, so now we've got our salary, we've got our 401k, this is pre-tax. Then in the box below, you have your checking account. That's where 95, so say you want to look at your total salary and take 5% and put it in to your 401k. So if you know what your total salary is, let's go ahead and write it down now. So if you've got your total salary at the top, the money that you make, and then from there, you can say, okay, what is 5% of that? And then divide that by your months, and then automatically, either monthly, quarterly, or yearly, contribute to your 401k pre-tax. And that's all set up through your employer or through your business, whichever one. And I'll go through what companies that I suggest or that I use. So from there, you have your checking account. Say 95% of your money goes into there. Then let's try to get another 5% and put it into your Roth IRA. So a Roth IRA is post-tax. So you've already paid taxes on your money, because it's gone through your salary. Then you put 5% into this Roth IRA, and then that money builds, and both the 401k and the Roth IRA yield about 8% in the long term. Yes, they go up and they go down, but in the long term, for the duration of as your retirement builds, you can expect around 8%. So your Roth IRA is you pay taxes originally, you don't pay taxes when it comes out. So you can look at the benefits of those, and we can dive into that a little bit deeper. But for now, that's kind of what to think about. Now, also from your checking account, so if you have like a sheet of paper, you have your salary, your 401k, you have your checking account. Now we're going to put 5% in our Roth IRA. Now you want to have an arrow to the side and talk about our savings, because we do need a savings account that we have available to us for spending. And kind of depending, maybe you guys can type in what you're comfortable with as far as how many months of that security blanket that you would like to build. So you can keep that in a lower interest rate account, but it's available to you. So when you kind of think about some of the things for your savings, maybe you're saving up for a wedding, maybe you're saving up for your child's wedding, maybe you're saving up for a down payment for a home, maybe it is for vacations, for like, there's all kinds of things that we want to be saving for. But what I suggest with the savings account, and that's where I'll start, is really making sure it's not just a savings account that's associated with your checking account from your regular bank, because usually there's fees associated with that. And with you're usually losing money because of the interest rate that you are gaining from a regular checking and a regular savings account is not enough to make any money in interest. So even that savings, for me, I use Capital One 360. And Capital One 360, it yields about 1.7% interest. And I do like that it's not associated with my regular checking account, because it's not super easy for me just to take my cash and put it in to my checking account. It is an account on the side. But when you're looking at banks and checking accounts to consider, I wrote down just a few. I know for me, and I can put the link in, but for me, the Capital One 360 was the easiest. And there's also American Express Personal Savings. That was about the same, the 1.7% percent interest. Ally Bank was another good one, and Schwab was another checking savings account. But what our homework is when you're putting whatever that 3 to 6 months of savings into an account that's liquid that you can use all the time, just make sure that there's not that you're not losing money in that account, and it is in a space that's not necessarily making you the 8%, but it is something that you can save your money. You can there's not the big fees associated with it, and it is maybe a little harder for you to get to. So when you're thinking about your savings account, those are some of the ones that I researched that look like they have a higher, and any of the savings accounts, I hadn't found any that are over that like 1.7. So if you found something that's better, please type it in, let me know, direct message me, and we can share it with one another. So our savings account is like just that security blanket of, hey, if something goes wrong, if I lose my job, if the pandemic hits, all these things that we've probably experienced within the last 3 years, cash is king, and we do need to be able to have that cash available to us if we need it. So from there, if you're thinking about, okay, now I want to think about investing into my 401k or starting up a Roth IRA, again, read I Will Teach You to Be Rich or Nicole's book on Miss Independence. But what I have found very simple for me is Vanguard. So there's a couple different, I don't know if it's called like organizations, but like brokerages they're more independent and you're not paying the fees that are associated with these like um, financial advisors. So Vanguard, the fees are super, super low, and the people are great. Like I just jump on a call with them and ask them, "Hey, tell me about the Roth IRA. Hey, tell me about when I set up a 401k for our business and for our employees." They walked through what is a simple 401k, and then what can you invest? What is the maximum amount you can put in? And they really simplify it for you. So that's what I use personally as Vanguard. Um, Schwab is great as well. Uh, Fidelity.com is awesome. So, and also again, if you have something that's working for you, please share it with us, because that's all I'm doing is I am not a financial expert. This is not what I went to school for. I love money. I love business. I love sharing and like wealth and all of this talk, but I am coming from a seat of I'm learning and I'm just trying to share with you what has worked for me. And what I know for sure for me is it has to be very simple and it has to be automated, because I'm not going to go in and make my own investments. I'm not going to go in every month and trade stocks and bonds and all of that kind of thing. It's just not what I'm going to do. But what I do and what I have found very successful for myself is taking the time to do the research on the front end, set up my accounts. So I have a 401k set up through our businesses, through Tumbleweeds and through Kaya, and I invest in that automatically every month and I max it out. Um, I do it monthly because at the end of the year, a lot of times that money's not there anymore. So I give myself that tough love and I invest that max amount. I also am at an age that it's very important for me to max out my 401k and if possible my IRA, because I am getting closer to the age of retirement. If you're younger, that 1%, that 5%, just whatever it is, whatever you can do, my biggest suggestion is automate. So automate, automate, automate. So let's just say you're going through Vanguard. So if you're going to set up your Roth IRA, because your 401k is already set up through your employer, through your business, or your your company that you work for. So all you do is you give them a call and say, "Hey, I want to set up my Roth IRA," and then from there, and with your 401k too, it's very important for you to choose where your money goes. It's super sad. Like my sisters and I do, and my mom, we all do money talks. And so we get on the phone and we read books together and we go through like our accounts and see what's working and what's not working. And one of my sisters was investing in her 401k and never realized that she needed to choose where her money actually went. And so when you open up a Roth IRA and when you open up your 401k, it is really important to choose like where it's actually going to go, because when you just put money in, you automate it. So step one is open up the account. Step two is automate the deposits, whether it's 1% or 5%, whether it's $30, $300, $3,000, wherever you are, automate those deposits. If it's your 401k, it's going to come out of your check. You're never going to even see it. If it's your Roth, it's going to come out of your checking account and you will set that up automatically for you. But the next step is you have to invest in either like a target date fund. And so that's what I did is I just called Vanguard and said, "Hey, I want to invest my money in a target date fund." They said, "Okay, how old are you? When do you want to retire?" And so just say 65. for like math, then what they will do is they'll automatically put you in. The older you are, the more secure your funds are. The younger you are, the riskier it could be. So then they pick a diverse way for your money to work for you. So I hope that makes sense. But the biggest thing is make sure that if you are investing in your 401k, if you are investing and have your automatic money taking out of your account into your Roth IRA, that you have taken the step to automate it, then taken the step to make sure that that money is going into whatever it is. So for me, it was doing a target date fund for where I want to go. And then I just set it and forget it. And yeah, quarterly, I'll take a look at it, especially if I'm doing these money calls, things like that. But for me, that is the easiest and best way. Okay, so that was a lot. I want to take a break for a second. I want to just, kind of ask you, does this resonate with you? Do you have any questions? Probably you have either a lot to layer onto this or maybe questions to simplify it. And what I encourage you to do is join our private Facebook group, ask questions with one another. But also for me, these Fridays, this once a month financial Fridays are really good for me because it really makes me look at, okay, what are my expenses? And am I investing as much as I possibly can into these different retirement accounts? If if I'm, wherever you are in your career, whether you are asking for a raise, whether you're starting a new business, whether you are, have a side hustle going on, is looking at your expenses and seeing. And I don't want to say, because I love in I Will Teach You to Be Rich, I really love that he encourages us to have a great life. That and also Nicole Lapin in her Miss Independent is it's not about not drinking coffee, and it's not about not having like great lunch dates with your girlfriends. It's really about spending where you really care about it, and then saving like as much as possible on the things that don't bring joy to your life. So like for me, my car, I just want it to get me around. So my car has like 170,000 miles on it, and I love her. Her name is Nellie, and I'm going to keep her until her little wheels fall off. And because I don't, but some people really value having a really reliable, great, awesome, beautiful car. So that's not where they would save money. But for me, I love going on vacations with my family. I like traveling. I like spending money on education. So I spend there, but I save here. And that then I'm able to not just save here and then spend it over here. I want to save that money and consciously first take your debt down. So you're utilizing your credit cards as kind of reward base. So I do put everything on my credit cards, but I make sure I pay off every single credit card at the end of every single month because the interest is ridiculous. And I have been in that trap quite a few times actually through my life, and I will not go there again. So I make sure that I pay off my balance, but I use my credit cards as like the rewards so I can do free traveling. Then I think about, okay, the my my bills that are like non-negotiables, my mortgage, my utilities, my insurance, food, like those kind of things, really kind of keep track of those. And you don't have to track them like to the penny every month, but it's almost like when you come to me to lose weight or to gain muscle, I have to see where you are to help you with really dialing in your nutrition to make sure that your body is optimal. It's the same thing with our finances. If we're able to chart every single expense all of our revenue, all the money coming in, all the money going out. We get a really clear picture on what interest we're paying with everything, on school loans, on homes, on all that kind of thing. Then once we have that and we're comfortable with it, we don't have to journal every single thing that we eat, nor do we have to journal every single thing that we spend, but we have budgets and we know this is where this fits in, this is where this fits in, and then we can cut and say every expense that we cut that we really don't care about, we're going to put that money towards either our savings, because we need that basic savings for emergencies, for vacations, for a new car, when my tires do fall off, and then max out our 401k if you have that available to you, or your Roth IRA. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. I know it's a lot, or maybe it's a little, but it is just so important for us to have these conversations with one another. And I would love to know like what it is that you're doing to have your money make money for you. Next week or next month, I want to talk about business and side hustles. So, Deb, if you can um, maybe put that into our events, is the benefits of having either a business, because I love business. And if you guys want to open up a Kaya, I would love to help you, or having these side hustles that can bring in extra money and creative ways to increase your revenue and increase your write-off. So a lot of times that's as equally as important if you have maybe a job that where you have or your family income is really high and you need extra write-offs. I'd love to help you with that. Okay, let me take a look and just see if anybody has any questions. You know, Laura, so Laura's question is, what do you think about CDs instead of savings accounts? They often advertise a higher APR, and I would have to look into that, and I will, but let's look into it together and then share it, because I don't want to speak out of terms. And so the things that I'm going to look for when I'm looking into CDs instead of savings is how liquid is the cash, because I know you can put it in for different terms, right? So if I'm saving for a house and I want to buy a house in a year or 5 years, so let's look at like how liquid they can be, and then also um, what type of APR that they're getting. So I will dive into that. But thank you for that question, and thank you for starting that conversation. And if anybody has input on that, maybe CDs that you're investing in, please continue this conversation either on Facebook or yeah, let's just do it in our private Facebook page, because then we can just have like real conversation on that. Okay, so I think that's it, you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. If you want to work out with me at 9 a.m., just sign up for the live class on our app. You can do it from anywhere you are. And happy Financial Friday. Our homework is to look at our 401k if you have been investing in it. It was shocking to me. I know we have to go, but it was shocking to me when I was like I listen to money podcasts all the time and all kinds of stuff, and how many people, when they switch jobs, that they lose track of their 401k, and that the government is actually trying to track people down to find who owns all these different like 401ks. So a lot of times through our past like jobs, careers, different things that we've done, you might have different savings accounts that you might not even know what interest rates they're yielding. And same things with our debt, right? Like sometimes we're like, I have this credit card and the APR is whatever. It can get crazy. So the first thing is really just know where we are. What do you have for savings? What type of savings account do you have? Are there fees associated with it? And should you take that savings and put it into an account that has a better interest rate? Then from there, looking at like your expenses and seeing how much you can put into your 401k or your Roth IRA. If you want to dive into Vanguard, which is what I use, just give them a call. They're absolutely awesome to say, hey, I want to open up a Roth IRA. And a lot of times they do have like minimums. So you might have to put in $1,000 um, to start. So that would be put that money into your savings. Once you get that savings, then know you can open up your Roth IRA. So okay, so I hope this was helpful. You guys let me know, and let's just keep the conversation going on our private Facebook page. Deb, thank you for that link in the show notes so you can look at either the app or on Facebook, and I will see you guys very soon. Mwah. Love you all. Happy Financial Friday. Woo!